Hello everyone and welcome back. Hope we're all having a wonderful day and we're all doing well. So yesterday we got the official reveal of Operation Dread Factor, and we finally got our lore introduction to the brand new Swedish operator Fenrir. And in our lore cinematic, we seen that Fenrir is a scientist and was working for Deimos until he saw what Deimos was really up to and defected to Team Rainbow. But that left a lot of questions. Was he just a scientist? Surely he has some form of military background, but we still hadn't seen the entire picture. However, the test server for Operation Dread Factor has just went live, meaning that we can get a look at his official bio and hopefully answer some questions. So without further ado, let's take a look at Fenrir's bio. So Fenrir's real name is Emil Svensson. He has no org. There's some other operators that don't really have an org as well. Oryx is one of them. So he is coming in unaffiliated, but he will be joining the Redhammer squad and working underneath Captain Thermite. He is 1.76 meters tall and he weighs 74 kilograms and is 34 years of age. And he was born in Uppsala in Sweden. So that is a little introduction to Fenrir. Now let's take a look at his entire bio. So it starts off with a little background with a little quote from Fenrir saying, "Fear is a teacher, there's always a lesson to be learned." And what it says is, Svensson was a curious boy growing up in Uppsala, where his parents encouraged his fascination with animal biology by enrolling him in every science class they could find. On track to attend his hometown's university to pursue his passion, his focus shifted following his mandatory service. He learned that he had an affinity for physical fitness and tactical organization and became especially interested in how combat affects soldiers' emotional states. Following his service period, he studied neurochemistry and joined the Swedish Armed Forces, quickly earning his way up. As a communicator in the Special Operations Group, he expanded his skill set and aimed to develop strategies that would improve his peers' performance. When his project to create formulas that alter soldiers' emotions was denied, his insistence caused him to be discharged. Estranged from his family and made a pariah in the scientific and military communities, he had few options when Deimos approached him. With his newfound partner and funding, Svensson developed his technology until it became evident that he was being used to create a dangerous weapon. Taking his research with him, Svensson escaped Deimos' facility and sought out Rainbow. So there we have it. Fenrir was a soldier and scientist who had a fascination in a certain medical field which many people didn't agree with. Then being seen as an outcast from his family, the military, and the science community, that is where Deimos would step in and give Fenrir a job and basically exploit Fenrir until Fenrir obviously realized what Deimos was doing and clearly knew it wasn't right, so he went straight to Team Rainbow, as we've seen in the Commanding Force comic. And next we have a specialist profile from Captain Thermite on Fenrir. Of course, Fenrir is part of the Redhammer squad and Thermite is a leader, so let's see what Thermite has to say. "I understand the squad's reluctance in accepting specialist Emil Fenrir Svensson as one of our own. I was just as skeptical when he approached us, but I couldn't ignore the possibility that his information on our enemy might give us the upper hand. I figured we could decide what to do with him later. Deimos is dangerous and I considered that Svensson might be a spy, so I had Buck join me during interviews. On paper, Fenrir is exactly the type of person Rainbow would seek out to recruit. He's an intellectual and an ambitious tactician in peak form. As I learned more about his career path, I realized the traits that led him to his military discharges are ones I expected in a member of Redhammer. Unflinching drive, conviction, and readiness to put himself in harm's way when necessary. I can't fully absolve him of his work with Deimos, but I can relate to the regrets Svensson feels. He had no prior knowledge of the enemy's operations, so I can't blame him for accepting the offer. It's easy to get tunnel vision when pursuing groundbreaking research, but eventually you have to come to your senses and notice what's around you. The turning point for him was witnessing Deimos use an unstable version of his fear toxin on his colleagues. And as he puts it, his work was meant to help people, not hurt them. The way I see it, I have my hands on an excellent specialist who knows more about our enemy than any of us do. I'd call that an asset. He passed every test I throw his way, and Buck didn't raise any red flags. Kaze has protested openly against Fenrir, but he'll have to come around. We need to take Deimos down." And that was Captain Jordan Trace, aka Thermite, leader of the Redhammer squad. So what an insane amount of information we learned there. I actually think that Fenrir's bio might be one of my favorites. I am really enjoying how this character has been written. And I'm assuming that the fear toxin which he was developing was to help counteract fears for soldiers to make them more brave. However, in this stage of development, it's done the complete opposite and Deimos was using that to exploit them. And I also do really like that they did suspect that he might be a spy at first, so that's why he brought Buck in as well, and Thermite put him through the testing, and it seems like he isn't a spy and he is genuinely trying to do the right thing. However, not everyone is on board with him being here. Kaze does not agree with this, and of course Kaze is a leader himself back at the fortress. We made a lore video talking about the fortress, so I think that's a really good way they've written that to make an operators such as Kaze, who does have leadership skills himself, not really like the idea of Fenrir being part of the squad. I really do appreciate that world building there, and they've done a really good job there. But at the end of the day, Thermite is the leader and they have to follow what he says, and Fenrir is now part of the Redhammer squad. So let's take a look at his training and the notes on his gadget. So he's had basic military training, he went to the University of Uppsala for a master's in neurochemistry, and done specialist officer training. His relevant experience is the Total Defense Service, the Swedish Armed Forces, the Special Operations Group, Operation Substratum, and Operation Double Crane. And finally, we have the notes on his gadget, which is known as the F-NATT Dreadmine, and this evaluation is taken by both Thermite and Buck. Also quite interesting, it seems like Thermite has been using Buck quite a lot in the Redhammer squad as sort of like a second-hand man. Maybe Buck is a bit more prominent in the squad than other operators. So this starts off with a little note from Mira saying, "I hope you know what you're doing. This kind of technology is not something you play around with, Jordan." Of course, in the lore, Mira is one of the operators who builds a lot of the gadgets and has a lot of knowledge of technology and how these gadgets work. So what Thermite says about the gadget is, Fenrir presented his final prototype with notes attached. The materials of the case, the molecular structure of the gas, the release mechanism is all outlined. It's good to know he's aware of the risk this possesses if it's not perfect. Buck was on standby in case of complications. At his own insistence, we started by testing on Fenrir to be sure, and then alternated testing methods to eliminate possible variables. The gas is unpleasant, but not dangerous. Fenrir warned us that early iterations of the formula caused extreme aggression, but our tests confirmed this modified version to be free of that side effect. Honestly, this is much more sophisticated than Smoke's compound grenades. That's also a very interesting note there, by the way, because when Solace was introduced to the game, they said that her headset was an upgrade originally meant for IQ, but of course she left the Nighthaven, and Smoke has also left the Nighthaven. So kind of two little digs at two operators who left Team Rainbow by saying that these new operators are basically better versions of them. I can imagine if those operators start working with Team Rainbow again and they meet these new people, they're going to be like, oh, did they take our spot? However, continue reading this, it says the F-NATT Dreadmine proximity trigger is simple, and the effects are temporary. The package can be changed if needed, but it works fine as is. Buck noted that this device should serve well for flank watching and area denial, both tasks that can be difficult to achieve with limited manpower. I'm interested to hear about Fenrir's more positive variants. They wouldn't be much use in the field, but he's not off the mark when he says introducing emotional responses could have therapeutic effects. And that was the evaluation of Fenrir's F-NATT Dreadmines by Captain Thermite of the Redhammer squad. So everyone, that was the bio of the brand new operator Fenrir. I absolutely adore this bio and the story of Fenrir. He was a man that had a passion for science, and people around him supported that growing up. The more he started to investigate that interest, the more people started to push him away and disassociate with him. This allowed him to be exploited by Deimos and allow his work, which was originally being developed for good, to be used with malicious intent. Not having a place with his family, the military, or the medical community, and now being exploited by Deimos, he ends up in Team Rainbow, where it seems like he'll have a new family and a new home. And although not everyone may agree with him being there, he can earn his place now and show that he is a valuable asset to the squad, and hopefully can be used to take down Deimos. And so, from his bio, that is the story of Fenrir, the brand new Redhammer squad operator in Rainbow Six Siege Operation Dread Factor. I already said it, but I absolutely love this bio. I had a blast reading this. This was my first time reading it as well, so my reactions were genuine. And I'm really interested to see how the character of Fenrir develops in Rainbow Six lore. And honestly, I have a feeling that he maybe will have a run-in with Deimos very soon. So everyone, that is the story of Fenrir. Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below and subscribe for more Rainbow Six Siege lore content. Drop a like on this video if you did enjoy. Check out my other lore videos. And as always, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe. I love you all. I shall catch you later. Peace.